Hi, I'm Chris Thompson, and I've got a bit of an unusual story to tell you about how I discovered some amazingly powerful parenting strategies for toddlers and preschoolers. I'll be talking about ways to understand and communicate with your child that you've probably never heard before, giving you the answers to dealing with the terrible twos, poor child behavior, tantrums, and all sorts of other common parenting problems. Some of what I say in this video may offend some of the so-called experts, so I might not leave it up forever. Please watch it while it's still available. I promise it will be one of the most enlightening parenting instructional videos you've ever seen, and I believe you'll be amazed. I have to assume that if you're watching this, you've probably been dealing with a lot of stress or anxiety that stems from being a parent. We love our kids so much, and yet sometimes they can drive us crazy, and their behavior and actions make us worry that we aren't doing a good job of raising them. I've heard from lots of moms and dads who feel like they're failing as parents, and I know you want peace and quiet back in your home, and you're not alone. In fact, you're in very good company. The good news is that you can get the changes that you want. My experience proves you can actually turn things around and really start to enjoy your kids and your time as a parent much more than you are right now. I'd like to help you to make those changes starting right now by showing you some of the most important tools you can learn. Here's more good news. Most of the problems you're facing with your child's behavior are not your fault. Think about it. Kids don't come with instruction manuals. Nobody trains us on how to actually deal with toddlers and preschoolers. They don't teach this stuff in school. And when you're expecting your first child, you may have taken one of those parenting classes. The ones that teach you how to hold a baby, how to feed a baby, and everything baby. Sure, it's important stuff, but it's actually pretty easy when compared to the terrible twos and threes and, as one of my friends used to joke, the freaking fours. These years are big sources of stress for parents. You can either fly by the seat of your pants and fly off the handle, or you can learn and apply some much better ways of dealing with your kids. Because you're watching this video, you fall into the second category, and you should really congratulate yourself for that. There's only one real reason you don't have the peaceful home that you want with well-behaved children. Nobody's ever given you the right information and the proper tools. You've either been given no information, or even worse, the wrong information. You've continued to apply the correct solution, which didn't work despite it being the correct solution. So let's fix that. Here are the top 4 lessons that every parent needs to take to heart and apply. Number 1, behavior is driven by emotion, not logic. This is fundamental to everything. Behavior for any person of any age is determined by their emotional state. People act from their emotions, and then they later justify their actions with logic. But small kids don't have the ability to use logic, so they act purely from emotion. Say your child won't get dressed in the morning, won't eat his dinner, or won't share a toy on a play date. Your child mentally connects the behavior that you want to some kind of emotional pain. So no matter how many times you ask, your child won't cooperate. Changing your child's emotional state is the key to getting the behaviors that you do want. So how do you change a child's emotional state? I discovered some very specific language patterns to make it easy for your child to feel good about the behaviors that you do want. Once they feel good about it, the behavior change follows instantly. I see so many parents trying to use logic instead. If you eat that cookie, you won't be hungry for dinner. Or, if you don't wear this coat, you'll be cold outside. Or, you need to have a nap, or you're going to be cranky this afternoon. It simply doesn't work. I bet you can validate this by thinking back to your own experiences with your child. Number 2, we tend to overuse the word no when we talk to our kids. You remember the story of the boy who cried wolf, right? The little shepherd boy was bored while watching the sheep, so he decided to cry wolf to make the villagers come running. Before long, they stopped responding to his false cries. When a parent cries no at every little thing, kids stop listening. People, including kids, are programmed to notice differences. If you're driving down the road, you don't tend to notice the normal behavior of other cars or people walking on the sidewalk. But if a car suddenly comes to a stop, Or if a child suddenly runs into the street, you do take notice because something is different. Ask yourself if you say no so often that it has faded into the background and become as ordinary as cars on the road or people on the sidewalk. The better alternative is to change your child's behavior without even having to resort to saying no most of the time. I'll show you exactly how you can do this using language techniques that seem almost magical and almost too easy. Number 3, if you want to have any chance at all of influencing your child's behavior, you must have rapport first. Rapport simply means having an emotional connection to another person. This is why strangers will talk about the weather or gasoline prices. They're unconsciously making general comments that they know the other person will agree with. Agreement creates rapport. It's a natural process we all do in adult relationships. It's as natural as breathing, but we often forget that we need to build rapport with our kids too. If little Samantha is playing in the sandbox at the park and you suddenly announce to her that it's time to go home, you have a huge chance of creating a fight because you missed the first step of building rapport. I'll show you how you can learn lots of ways to create this crucial emotional bridge before you change a child's behavior. Number 4, language is a powerful tool, and there are a bunch of tactics you need to learn to create the outcomes you want. Here's a specific tip. Use positive language instead of negative language. Ask your child to sit down instead of stop jumping on the couch. Ask him to hold his cup with 2 hands instead of don't spill your milk. This is the opposite of how most of us speak, but science has proven that speaking in negative terms and saying what you don't want will actually cause your child to do exactly what you're trying to avoid. You want some simple proof that will work on you right now? Okay, do not think about the color of your child's hair right now. Don't think about it, and certainly don't form a mental image of it right now. See? As soon as you're told not to do something, you at least have to think about it to understand what it is that you aren't supposed to do. The difference is that young kids, unlike adults, don't have something called a critical faculty, which helps to process the negatives in language. I've got so much more information to share. Can you imagine what would happen if you installed a powerful set of communication strategies within your mind? It's not as hard as you might think, and the effects are fast and powerful. How much more peaceful will your life be once you know how to fix or even prevent most of those behavioral problems that you've been dealing with? Would you like to start enjoying more laughter and smiles with your kids? Want to really feel like you understand your kids and know that you're doing the best job you can? I want you to experience the joy of a loving, nurturing, and emotionally healthy family life. It's entirely possible for you. I know it because I've helped thousands of other parents learn how to deal with their kids more effectively. In fact, while preparing this video, I was shocked to discover that I've sent my parenting course to parents in 58 different countries, and I'm not done helping people. There are still far too many parents who share your frustrations and need these solutions. I think I should share my own story with you so that you can understand why I feel so passionate about these parenting strategies. As I said in the beginning, my name is Chris Thompson. I'm a proud father of 2 girls named Anne and Elizabeth. I'm married to my sweetheart Vanessa, and we live in Toronto, Canada. My story actually goes back to when I was 19 years old, entering my first year of university, to study engineering, not psychology or sociology. I was a math and science geek. The university brought in a guest speaker who, unbeknownst to me at the time, would change my life forever. The speaker showed us how to use our brains to make powerful shifts in our emotional states, like how to take a lousy mood and turn it around instantly. He also taught us some of the basics of influence, persuasion, and relationship building. This stuff really excited me, and when the presentation ended, I went up to the speaker and asked him how to learn more. He handed me a reading list of recommended books to study, and I've always maintained my passion for learning about influence, persuasion, relationships, and rapport. I got really good at this stuff. I built the right kind of relationships with people in university, and I applied my skills to get a great job upon graduation while others had a hard time. I was still only 22 at this point, and I was too busy focusing my skills on my career to realize that there was a lot more to it. Let's fast forward over the next 8 years. I got married, I applied my skills to make a highly rewarding and unconventional career shift. Then when I was 30 years old, we had our first baby. Anne changed my life forever. Just talking about this is making all the memories flood back of me holding her for the first time. And that first moment, holding this tiny baby of mine, it hit me that I had a much bigger responsibility than ever before. By the time she was entering the terrible twos, my wife was pregnant again with our second daughter, Elizabeth. We didn't need any more stress, believe me. Here's where my training starts to come in, and thanks for bearing with me so far. The challenges and problems that we faced with Anne were very typical. She would say no to us a lot. She would point at things that she wanted and cry if we didn't give them to her. She'd have fits or throw tantrums if we didn't live up to her expectations. I bet you can relate, right? That's when I finally clued into the idea that all of my expertise in building relationships and influencing people would probably work on small children too. The tools just needed to be reworked to fit parenting situations rather than business situations. I started making notes on every new idea that hit me. I'd test them out on Annie the Terrible, and they'd work like magic. Then came the one moment that clinched it all for me. I realized how powerful this stuff was and how nobody else was doing or teaching these ideas. I was in the grocery store with my pregnant wife and daughter. There we were in the checkout line, waiting to pay for our groceries. Anne was in the shopping cart with her eyes at the perfect height to see the candy. I mean, seriously, they must set up the checkout aisles like this on purpose. Kid sees candy, kid asks, then begs for candy, parent says no, kid freaks out, secret camera captures it all, and you end up on YouTube. Well, as you can guess, Anne really wanted this chocolate candy called Smarties. The packaging is brilliant. You simply can't miss them. She smiled. Oh yes, it always starts that way. Then she pointed at them and said in her cave child voice, "Want this?" My wife started to say no to her, and I could literally see the meltdown beginning to take shape. Her lips started to quiver. That's usually the clear sign. Thank goodness I was quick on my feet that day instead of staring down at my BlackBerry. I quickly tested out a new technique that I'd been perfecting. It's called the distraction method. Yes, I know, very fancy title. It's an elegant technique that starts with something we already talked about, building rapport. If you forget this step, you're in trouble, seriously. But nobody's teaching this. Anyway, I built rapport and used a special distraction technique to completely avert the meltdown and the walk of shame over to the parking lot. What a relief that was. I took the time to take my communication skills and adapt them for use with children. What I developed is a unique, effective toolbox for parents. Nobody is teaching this stuff. Terrible twos? How about terrific toddlers instead? I've always been a natural teacher, so after experimenting on my own kids, I started working with other parents. The results were truly spectacular. Parents no longer felt like they were out of control. Kids started to behave better. The results were fast, and best of all, the strategies I teach maintain a child's dignity and actually help the child understand how to make better choices. I turned all of this into a course called Talking to Toddlers. The techniques that you'll learn will work on any age group. I always chuckle when wives email me to share stories about using a technique on their husband. But the examples are really geared towards the 2 to 6-year-old age range, so not just toddlers. My course is unique because it's the only program that breaks down the science of communication and applies it to kids with a parent-approved emphasis on creating positive influence in children. Here are just some of the techniques you'll learn. Get your kids to say yes instead of no. If you find yourself successfully using the same strategy on your spouse, coworker, or boss, you have my permission to blame me. Quickly kill that bad mood. I'll show you how to use natural emotional cues to install a magic button that you can push to change your child's mood. Get children to stop changing their minds so much. I'll teach you exactly how to stop this, but in a positive way. It eliminates your stress and frustration while building your child's confidence at the same time. It's win-win. the best way to use consequences. I'll explain to you exactly what steps you're probably missing when threatening consequences. This will dramatically boost your success in using consequences. How to sidestep a temper tantrum. I'll teach you multiple tools that will save you unbelievable amounts of frustration. I love getting emails from parents who experience the difference these make. Plant positive ideas in your child's mind. You will learn to plant suggestions for specific behavior, like going to bed, eating dinner, or feeling comfortable on the potty. But the real power here is how you can instill confidence, strength, love, and other feelings. You need to know this. Now, I've got an important question for you. Remember what it was like to take your infant child out of the house? So long as you had your ultimate toolkit, the diaper bag, you felt comfortable, right? It had all the supplies you needed to deal with unexpected problems. Leaky diaper, anyone? We've all been there. But now, you need a different sort of diaper bag. The tools you need have changed. Talking to Toddlers is your toddler toolbox. It's your security blanket for the terrible twos and beyond. It's what gives you the confidence you can handle all those behavior problems nobody ever showed you how to deal with. Speaking of diapers and clothes, I'm sure you've thought about the investment required to raise a young child. Hundreds of dollars every month on all of those baby and toddler items. And then there's all the spending on activities and childcare. So how much are you investing, if anything, on tools to help you enjoy your time with your kids and reduce potential marital stress? You deserve to spend a little something on yourself once in a while, don't you? Grab a copy of my course, Talking to Toddlers. Click the button below and let's get started. I've created two options for you. Option 1 is the complete Talking to Toddlers manual. This is a digital book you'll download instantly. It also comes with a special cheat sheet I created to give you an at-your-fingertips summary of all of the language techniques. You'll also join my customers-only email list where you'll get special bonus tips and lessons because I care about supporting my customers. The complete manual is priced at $37. Option 2 is the premium audio package. You get everything that I described in option 1, plus you get the entire course delivered as professionally recorded audio files. These instant downloaded audios will play on your computer or iPod, and of course you can use them to make your own CDs if you're the least bit tech savvy. Otherwise, if you need CDs shipped to you, just look a little lower down on this page and you'll find a spot where you can order them. The audios really improve your learning because I can demonstrate the techniques to you. It's the next best thing to a live teaching session. The audio package is $67, but I've decided that for a limited time, I'm not going to charge you $67. Instead, I'll upgrade you to the audio package for free when you order the $37 package. So as long as this video is up, which won't be forever, you get the free upgrade to the audio version and you get the best possible learning at the lowest possible price. Remember, you'll download everything as soon as you finish submitting the order form. You can start doing this right now. The other thing you need to know is that I insist on offering you a 100% money-back guarantee. You can try my course for yourself for 60 days, and if for any reason you aren't totally thrilled with the results, you'll get every penny back. You'll have access to my direct email address, so there's zero risk and there's nothing to physically return. Consider it for a moment as you make your decision to invest in Talking to Toddlers. You can either take action now with no risk, or you can continue doing what you've been doing, and through no fault of your own, I'm guessing it's not giving you the results you wanted. I'd love for you to be my next success story, but you've got to be the one to push the button and make the decision. I'll be waiting for you in the customer's area. You deserve it.